be here no more. I'm so tired of being here, this place. This is where I'm living. I'm so tired of it. It's just like, I want to go back. I don't want to be here no more. I don't cut my hair. I don't shave. I don't do nothing. I just want to go back. It just gets bad in here, man. I just don't want to be here no more. Just pray to God just. I'm just tired of you guys talking about me and just always talking shit. These guys just don't even know how to just leave me alone. I'm just so tired.
Well, as they say, you don't know what you got till it's gone. I'm sure that a lot of people, once they get deported, then they will appreciate what they had here in the United States, but it will be too late.
Hey everyone, so welcome back to this channel, and today I want us to talk about a video that has been circulating online showing a man who was deported from the United States back to Somalia. So there has been a lot of strong reactions, jokes and arguments around it, but let's slow down and talk about it respectfully. So this isn't about attacking anyone, it is not about promoting hate, and it's not about making fun of someone's situation. So guys, when someone is deported, especially after spending many years in the United States, the transition can be extremely difficult because of the new environment, limited resources, little and no support system. So what we are seeing online is an emotional reaction to a sudden life change, not something for the internet to diagnose or mock. Yes, immigration laws exist. Yes, countries enforce their borders. Those conversations matter. But it is not also okay to acknowledge that deportation can be overwhelming on a human level. So guys, social media tends to focus on the most dramatic moment because they get clicks. But short clips rarely show the full story, the background, or what someone is actually dealing with day to day. So turning situations like this into entertainment doesn't really help anyone. So it just creates more divisions and misunderstanding. You don't have to agree with someone's choice to treat them with basic dignity. And you don't have to ignore the law to recognize that sudden displacement is hard. So guys, let's keep conversations like this respectful, informed, and human. So guys, let's watch some more clips of various individuals reacting to this situation, and then I will come back with more commentary.
Somalis are not terrorizing this nation. We are helping it thrive.
And how exactly are you doing that?
Somalis have always seen themselves as a fabric of this nation.
I might be willing to consider another fabric.
So not only are we not going anywhere. Oh, come on! Not only are we not going anywhere, we are not going to allow anybody to make us feel less Minnesotan or less American.
I look at Omar, I don't know, I never met her. All I'm saying that if they're not happy here, they can leave. They can leave, and you know what? I'm sure that there'll be many people that won't miss them.
All right, well, in case you haven't guessed it, Ilhan Omar was wrong again, and President Trump was right. These people will not be missed. Omar better get used to seeing a lot more of this. After decades of abusing the system, committing fraud, and just taking advantage of our country, these people finally get to go home to their beautiful Somalia. You might be wondering how they're adjusting there. Well, you don't have to wonder anymore. Take a look at this clip.
transferay ana maxaan u malaynaayay Dubai intii la wado baasaboorkay waa laga qaatay waa celisaa ku jiraa inta qof embassy la soo hadli karo ilaa ka baqdo la soo hadlo I'm Dali. I don't want to be here no more. I'm so tired of being here. This place. This is where I'm living. I'm so tired of it. It's just like I want to go back. I don't want to be here no more.
Well, as they say, you don't know what you got till it's gone. I'm sure that a lot of people, once they get deported, then they will appreciate what they had here in the United States, but it will be too.
Somalis may have to go back to Somalia. President Trump has proposed to end TPS status for Somalis. Most Somali immigrants in America are here on a temporary protective status. Basically, their home country, Somalia, is unsafe, so they're here on a work authorization. However, if that's to be ended, things can happen for the Somali community. First, the loss of legal status. Secondly, they're not able to work in the United States. And then most importantly, the risk of deportation. There's a huge Somali community in the Minnesota-St. Paul area. And of course, if the TPS status has ended, it will affect their community tremendously. What do y'all think? My name is Tiffany. I lost 150 pounds in 2.5 years, and I also report different news topics as such today. Tap in.
People who spent years calling America racist are now crying online because they're being sent back to the same country they swore was better than here. Y'all like the video right here, follow for more. And let's get into this one. You see the meltdown videos everywhere, tears, anger, demands, but none of them mention the fraud investigations, the expired visas, the money that moved through criminal networks, or the abuse of programs paid for by the taxpayers. The moment accountability shows up, they all act shocked. I look at these videos and all I see is the same contradiction. Somalia is beautiful when they want moral high ground, but Somalia becomes unsafe the moment removal papers arrive. They switch the story depending on what benefits them. The reactions are emotional because the system finally stopped bending. Deportations are happening because laws exist, because agencies uncovered fraud rings, because certain groups are draining millions from health, housing, and social programs that working Americans rely on. There's nothing complicated here. People act like the West owes everyone a comfortable life, like your job is to give everyone else more than what you could give your own family. And that is not how a country works. You cannot build a healthy society by subsidizing the failure of another one. And while all this is going on, the people who should be rebuilt
the Somali community that currently has taken over the little city of Minneapolis.
A massive fraud scheme uncovered in Minnesota found money intended for social services has been allegedly siphoned indirectly into the pockets of the Somali terrorist group Al-Shabaab. Somali immigrants in Minnesota have reportedly been abusing systems meant to help the most unfortunate among us, including the latest federally funded autism services. The autism fraud scheme reportedly amassed $14 million through Medicare claims for services that were never provided, involving kids who never had autism. And the Somali immigrants behind this web of schemes have allegedly stolen billions from taxpayers, much of the money going back to the Somali government, where it would then end up in the hands of terrorists. Manhattan Institute investigative reporter Ryan Thorpe was one of the first exposing the schemes for their ties to terrorism. With us now, Ryan, a line from your story stuck out. The largest funder of Al-Shabaab is the Minnesota taxpayer, and you cite an unnamed source for that. What is the evidence that all of this money that was taken and the billions upon billions of increased funding in Minnesota for social services ended up in Somalia?
Well, billions of dollars of government welfare money is missing in the state of Minnesota.
How do we define missing?
Well, the fraud is so bad that the U.S. Attorney's Office has come out and indicated that they believe their entire government programs, where the fraudulent claims outstrip the legitimate ones. There are cases where indictments have come down or guilty pleas are already in to the tunes of hundreds of millions of dollars that were fraudulently obtained, filing false claims alongside doctored paperwork. And the indictments are continuing to come. And the U.S. Attorney's Office has made very clear that this is a network of fraud schemes stacked upon fraud schemes, and that while the true dollar figure in terms of stolen funds at this point isn't quite clear, it's safe to say that we're talking about billions of dollars.
Okay. It's pretty wild, some of the things that you lay out, including one group called Feeding the Future that went from getting $3.4 million in 2019 to $200 million 2 years later. They grew faster than NVIDIA. How did nobody see that? Or is it that people and the government and those who are supposed to be the watchdogs, like Tim Walz, like Keith Ellison, the Attorney General, there just weren't looking?
I think it's safe to say that there was a real unwillingness or inability among Democratic state officials in Minnesota to...
So guys, let's hear from the freeloader himself. So this guy is saying that all these fraud being exposed in Minnesota is just a cover-up. Yes, let's hear what he's saying. I'll come back with more commentary.
This is so sad. Somalians in the United States are taking the blame for this massive cover-up. I've been digging deep and I pieced it together. It's not the Somalian people pulling off the fraud. Nah, it's the United States government who rigged the whole thing to funnel billions of dollars to what Israel just recognized as Somaliland. It's huge because Israel needs a spot to deport the Palestinians, and someone gotta foot the bill for that land. And since the United States government is basically run by the Israels, we are the ones paying for it all. This land grab for deporting Palestinians, the blame they are pinning on the Somalian community.
I think at this point, the Somalis will do anything to cover up the fraud instead of calling out those doing the fraud in their community. But let's be very clear, the Minnesota fraud scandal is not fake news. It wasn't decided on social media. It was proven in US federal court. Take for example, the case centers on Feeding Our Future, where over $250 million in taxpayer money meant to feed children during COVID was fraudulently claimed for meals and was never served. Federal investigators didn't guess. They followed the bank records, fake invoices, shell companies, wire transfer, surveillance, and witness testimony. Dozens of people were indicted, pleaded guilty, and were convicted. Judges reviewed the evidence, juries weighed in, sentences were handed down. So when people now claim that US government stole the money and gave it to Israel, there is zero evidence for that. US aid to Israel is publicly debated and approved by Congress. It does not run through Minnesota non-profit meal programs. The money didn't disappear. It landed in private banks' account and was spent on luxury cars, homes, cash withdrawals, and overseas transfer. This is not about anybody. Communities are not on trial. Individuals are. Many Somalis in Minnesota are yet to condemn this fraud. You don't protect your community by denying proven crimes. You protect it by telling the truth, rejecting corruption, and demanding accountability. Calling out fraud in your community. Facts don't care who you're protecting, only what actually happened. And right now, a lot of fraud around daycare centers in Minnesota are being uncovered.
Guys, what do you think about the Somali freeloader's claims? Are they valid? Do they make any sense? If so or not, kindly comment down on the comment section. Give your views. Let me hear from you guys. So let's watch what the Congresswoman Ilhan Omar had to say about this situation.
The one place where we thought we would never experience this is the U.S. goddamn states.
She clearly didn't expect this from the US. So guys, let's watch more clips, then I will come back with more commentaries.
To the residents of Minnesota, it has been brought to my attention that some of you fear that the Somali community is taking over the Twin Cities, the cities you've once called home. This takeover is very inevitable as this land was promised to us by our ancestors 5,000 years ago. And unlike It's Not Real, we actually have video proof of this. Watch.
Northern regions of the Midwest located in the United States of America. You can claim this land the year 2025 and you have to make the president a guy called Fateh, who very much looks like I am the captain now. And this is not a coincidence but rather a prophecy foretold. I know you're wondering what this new country will be called. We will call this new country the Land of Somalia.
That being said, if you could kindly give up your homes to the nearest Somali family you can find, because we would have to hate to call the SDF, the Somali Defense Force.
Recognize some pretty obvious alarm bells here. All across these programs, claims were skyrocketing, absolutely spiraling out of control over a short period of time. And the reality is that the Somali community, which is where these large-scale fraud rings have been concentrated within this population in the state, it is a sizable voting bloc. It is a voting bloc you have to win if you're going to win political office in Minneapolis. And so I think that was likely a incentive here that made some people not want to look too closely at what's been going on.
Yeah, they don't want to look too closely at it, as this guy lays out, because it's obvious that a lot of Democrats are probably being funded by the fraud, right? Because that is how Democrats operate. What they do is that they take taxpayer dollars, they funnel the taxpayer dollars into these liberal nonprofits, these entities that are designed to do good, right? To do humanitarian stuff, like, for example, help kids with autism or to take care of old people or whatever. But that's not what they actually do. They funnel that money into their own pockets. They don't actually solve the problem that they're supposed to solve. And then they give Democrats kickbacks in the form of campaign donations for funneling tax dollars to them. There's no doubt in my mind that that's probably what's happening in Minneapolis. It's probably what's happening in Minnesota. And that's why you have politicians like, for example, Tim Walz playing the race card when confronted on all of the fraud that seems to be very prevalent amongst the Somali community in Minneapolis, Minnesota. So without further ado, I want to go ahead and roll this clip of Tim Walz responding to NBC News host Christian Welker, confront him on the scandals that are happening in his state that he's overseeing, and why is it that he's not doing anything about it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this.
From countries beyond Afghanistan, specifically targeting the Somali community in your home state. He also... Welcome back, and joining me now is Democratic Governor Tim Walz of Minnesota. Governor Walz, welcome back to Meet the Press.
Good to be with you, Kristen. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you. Thanks you so much for being here. I do want to start with the tragic shooting of the two National Guard service members. In the aftermath of the shooting, as you know, President Trump has responded by vowing to crack down on refugees, including from countries beyond Afghanistan, specifically targeting the Somali community in your home state. He also described you using a slur widely regarded as derogatory toward people with intellectual disabilities. I want to read for you what he said, Governor, and get your reaction on the other side. He said, hundreds of thousands of refugees from Somalia are completely taking over the once great state of Minnesota.
So we are seeing videos online of deported Somalis crying, shocked, and asking for help after being sent back to Somalia. So people are laughing, people are hungry, but almost nobody's actually trying to explain what is really going on. So some of these clips show deportees emotionally calling out to Black Americans, saying they didn't know how bad things would be back home. And that has sparked a lot of tension, especially online. So before we mock, shame, or politicize these, we need to slow down and understand the reality behind these videos. Many of these deported Somalis didn't go back home. They were sent to places they barely know. Some left Somali when they were toddlers, some grew up entirely in the United States, and some don't speak Somali fluently. Some have no family, no housing, and no safety net. Somalia is not a movie scene, but it's a hard place to land with nothing. Jobs are scarce, infrastructure is weak. Security depends heavily on region and connections. And if you arrive westernized, broke, and alone, life hits faster. So when people say, why are they begging black Americans for help? That is not how desperation works. They are not assigning responsibility. They are reaching out for familiarity. They are speaking to the only America they feel connected to. So yes, immigration laws exist. Yes, deportation is legal. Yes, personal choice matter. But empathy doesn't disappear just because the law showed up. So guys, you don't have to excuse everything to recognize suffering. So these videos are being used to beat the African migrants against black Americans, and that is intentional. You don't have to hate immigrants to believe in borders, and you don't have to mock broken people to feel secure. So guys, thank you for watching, and feel free to share your thoughts respectively in the comment section. See you in the next video.